Uh,
Hare Krishna. So I'd like to welcome all the devotees for our regular Saturday program and at device. And with us we have an esteemed guest, that is Vrindavanlila Mataji from Andhra Pradesh. Who, of course, is an acquaintance of previous two, and then she was kind enough to let us know of her contact details. She agreed to give a class to us on a very important, it's a very commonly discussed yet still very important topic because there are some things like we are not the body, we're the soul. There's something which we keep hearing but don't follow easily. So this is one of those kind of topics. So we are very much looking forward to the class by Mataji. So before we can go ahead, I'll just introduce the speaker for all of us, so that we can um, know the greatness of the speakers from whom we are hearing. Okay. So Vrindavan Leela Devi Dasi, her full name is Dr. Cetanas. She was born and raised in a typical atmosphere of Indian Air Force. Her parents instilled in her the tradition of spiritual values and the spirit to sacrifice in others' interests. Her father led by example a life of simplicity and austerity. This paved way for accepting Srila Prabhupada's clear definition of spiritual goals and progress. She got associated with ISKCON in all earnestness and seriousness in 1999. She became attracted to the religion of Dharma and got married to His Grace Gauragopal Das, Director for ISKCON Daiva Varnashram Ministry, IDVM India, and Executive Chief Chairman for IDVM India, EC Chairman. Okay. In 2007, His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Swami Maharaj, Minister IDVM India, and one of the foremost and dedicated disciples of Srila Prabhupada, accepted her as disciple. She simultaneously worked at senior positions in corporate world. However, in 2009, she decided to quit and dedicate more time to the service of Mother Cow Surabhi in person and towards the larger spiritual concerns. She was soon nominated to become a member of the Sustainable Vaishnava Committee. She is the editor for Varnashrama Book Trust, the publication wing of IDVM India. Her spiritual master, who is a cerebral gifted writer on education and on Vedic value system of Varnashram Dharma, encouraged her to write. So she started a very widely distributed monthly e-newsletter titled The Eight Petals very successfully. On popular demand, it is slated to be revived soon. Okay. She works towards the revival of Vedic culture to make a better world for everybody. She has authored several books like The Fourth Wave, Gosam Vadhan. Okay. Indigenous cows and exotic cows, Sapta Rishis, founders of Vedic civilization, learning ABC and 123 with Krishna is fun. Krishna Smarana, remembering Krishna's childhood pastimes for children, with many, many more in the pipeline. So we have a very sorry for any any discontinuities in the introduction. I'm just reading of what I've got. So even this is my first acquaintance with Mataji, so probably during her next class I'll do a better job at it. Okay, so we request the speaker to take over and enlighten us with the divine words, what she has heard from her spiritual master and in parampara. Over to you, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much. And I think before the class had begun, I was listening to the sweet kirtan. I don't know who was the person singing, the devotee singing, but I must say it was melodious. I thought I will join at sharp 7:30, but I was just doing the testing, 15-20 minutes before the scheduled time, and I got hooked onto it and I didn't leave it. I was just listening to it. So I thank that Prabhuji, and there was Mataji also who was accompanying him. And I thank all the participants here. And before I begin, I seek all the people who are elderly and senior to me to share their blessings. And those who are younger to please kindly pray for me so that Srimati Radharani chooses me as an instrument to push forward the mission of Srila Prabhupada in some way. So, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, how do we start? Like we straight away start with the prayers. Like how do we do? What is the
Yes,
system here?
yeah. We start off the prayers, and you lead the prayers, and we'll be
Okay.
continuing behind our muted screens.
You mean to say I should start with the shloka straight away,
Right.
or
Yeah.
okay, okay? Because I recited my prayers before joining here,
Okay.
so I'll start with the shloka straight away, seeking everybody's blessings and mercy on me. So we'll read from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, Karma Yoga, and text 9. यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर. Will anybody repeat it, Prabhu? Like how do you go about it? Or like whatever is the system, because different groups have different systems. I've been giving classes in a few and everywhere it's different. So I'm just asking you. Otherwise, straight away we'll start with the.
I think we can straight away start, Mataji.
Okay. So I'll
Audience
just
seem to
read
be
it.
a bit
Yes.
shy.
Okay. All right. Word to word meaning. Yagyarthat, done only for the sake of Yagya or Vishnu. Karmanaha, than work. Anyatra, otherwise. Lokaha, world. Ayam, this. Karma bandhanaha, bondage by work. Tat, of him. Artham, for the sake. Karma, work. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti. Mukta sangaha, liberated from association. Samachara, do perfectly. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Translation and purport, both by His Divine Grace. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you'll always remain free from bondage. Purport. Since one has to work even for the simple maintenance of the body, the prescribed duties for a particular social position and quality are so made that that purpose can be fulfilled. Yajna means Lord Vishnu or sacrificial performances. All sacrificial performances also are meant for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. The Vedas enjoin Yakyo Vai Vishnuhu. In other words, the same purpose is served whether one performs prescribed yagyas or directly serves Lord Vishnu. Krishna consciousness is therefore performance of yajna as it is prescribed in this verse. The Varnashram institution also aims at satisfying Lord Vishnu. Varnashrama charavat purushena parvah puman. Vishnur aradhyate. This is cited from Vishnu Puran 3.8.8. Therefore, one has to work for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Any other work done in this material world will be a cause of bondage, for both good and evil work have the reactions, and any reaction binds a performer. Therefore, one has to work in Krishna consciousness to satisfy Krishna or Vishnu, and while performing such activities, one is in a liberated stage. This is the great art of doing work. And in the beginning, uh, 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 wait, I've lost my sentence. Yeah, this is the great art of doing work, and in the beginning, this process requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna, or under the direct instruction of Lord Krishna himself, under whom Arjun had the opportunity to work. Nothing should be performed for sense gratification, but everything should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. This practice will not only save one from the reaction of work, but also gradually elevate one to transcendental loving service of the Lord, which alone can raise one to the kingdom of God. So, thank you so much. So, that was the purport. I just prepared some skeletal PPT. I'll just try to share it. Mm, yeah. Prabhu, is it visible? Is it visible to everybody?
It's not visible to me.
Uh, uh,
Can any other or
it
audience
says your screen sharing is paused. Uh, I don't know
just a
why.
minute?
Or I'll just try to redo it.
Yeah.
It's saying it's starting to share. Okay.
Okay, I'll redo it. It's still giving me the same message that screen sharing is paused. Mm,
You need to be active in the application.
yeah, I am.
Weird.
If it works, it works. Otherwise, I'll speak without that.
Or you can, if it's possible, you can quickly try to send it to Devesh or someone, and we'll pick it up and we'll try to share it in the
Okay,
meantime.
well, I'll do it right away.
And then you can start speaking, and we'll try to fill the gap.
Yes, I'll just attach it. I think I have sent. Just a second. I think Prabhuji should have received it. Devesh Prabhu, have you received it?
Yes, Mataji, I've received it.
Can you just play it, Prabhu?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Manthan. You can start speaking,
Yes.
and I'll.
I don't know. It's giving me a lot of problems suddenly.
No problem, Mataji. Yeah, just send. He's just sending it to me, and I'll share it in a minute.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mm, I'm not able to see anything. Yeah. Prabhu, if Devesh Prabhu can start sharing, it will be a lot easier because I'll be just correlating it.
Yes, Manthan. I've just downloaded the PPT. I'm just doing it in a
Sure,
minute.
sure. That's fine.
Mataji, if you want to like chant your pranam prayers and things like that, maybe you can do that.
Sure, sure.
Right.
Hare Krishna. Om Agyanam Timradasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamalам Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagara Raghunatham Vitantam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् श्रीशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु जगत्पते कृष्णगोपिकान्त राधाकान्त. So I think here we start. I'm not so good with PPT, but I have tried to make something skeletal. So this shloka, like here, I can see there are so many initiated devotees also. So I'm sure everybody must be familiar with the general meaning that we usually discuss, how to dedicate all our activities for the pleasure of the Lord. So I just gave another subtitle because there was one interesting topic given by Kishan Prabhu, art of happy working. So I was wondering, it talks about happy working, happiness, and we are in Dukhalayam. So how do we taste that bliss while being in Dukhalayam? Though our Atma is Anandamayo Abhyasat. Prabhu, you can move on to the next slide. And in the purport also, Prabhupada spoke about freedom from karma-bandhan, like whether we do pious activities, whether we do evil activities, either way we are not able to come out of the karma-bandhan. And here, as you can see in the picture, one side is vikarma, the evil activities, and the other side is karma. But it's only on the surface. The end result is the same, the slaughterhouse. We are not free from the vicious cycle of birth and death. We are trapped in that. And then we can refer to even Brahma Samhita here, where Lord Brahma prays, and he says right from Indra Gopa, the smallest of the bacteria, to Indra, everybody is caught in the karma bandhan. Then, and the only way out is devotional service. That's the only way which can actually free us from that vicious cycle. Prabhu, you can move on to the next one, or can I do it? Okay. So, what is that missing link which is stopping us to come to that plane of akarma from realizing that happiness? So, I got this picture and I found it very, very relevant to us. Like if we compare our consciousness to this water kept in the glass, Maya Devi just looks for one small hole and she just attacks us. So it's just like what if there's one little hole, the water will just find its way immediately to that hole and come out. So the problem basically lies with our consciousness. So how do we purify our consciousness so that we are able to realize the bliss which is actually stopping us, the consciousness, the contaminated consciousness, which is stopping us from realizing or relishing the bliss. Because after all, we are in Devi Dham. So, Devi Dham here, Maya Devi's impact will be there, her influence will be there in different ways. So, we'll try to understand how it works upon our consciousness because I feel consciousness is so important. Everybody could feel its importance. That's why even Srila Prabhupada, when he named this movement, he named it as Krishna consciousness, no? International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So there's a lot of focus on consciousness. And same way, even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, though he is like the Lord himself, full of knowledge, but then he left only Shiksha Ashtakam, 8 stanzas. So in that Each stanza is also, the very first stanza talks about consciousness and its cleansing. Cheto darpana marjanam. So we will try to understand this consciousness aspect in greater detail so that we are able to work upon it. Prabhu, you can move to the next slide. So generally, when we talk about consciousness, we I'm sure we all must have heard these terms: Annamoya stage, Pranamoya stage, Manamoya stage, Jnanamoya, Vijnanamoya, and then Anandamoya. So Annamoya is generally we see that in a child, and sometimes it extends even to grown-ups also. We are just concerned about food. That's it. Nothing more than that. When a child is there, small child, newly born child, he's not concerned about anything else. It will cry when it's hungry, and other than that, nothing actually interests him. So that is Annamoya stage. And next stage, sorry, is of Pranamoya, where we try to defend ourselves and try to protect ourselves from annihilation or any kind of destruction or any kind of harm, just trying to keep our body and soul together. So the whole effort goes in that. Generally, people are stuck at this stage. And then little further, when we move on to the third stage, that is of Manamoy. In Manamoy, we are slowly coming to the level of mind, the mind starts working. And then it tries to understand so many things and speculate. So that is Manamoy stage. And after that, as it tries to explore and speculate, it tries to find the right source from where the knowledge can be acquired. That is Gyanamoy. There's a typo there. I have typed M instead of N. So that's Gyanamoy stage. And then comes Vigyanmoy, when we try to implement whatever we have rightly acquired. So that's Vigyanmaya. So, and after we implement all that knowledge that we have acquired, then we are actually able to experience the bliss in our life. So we come to Anandamaya. Next slide, Prabhu. So as we move on further, I'm just trying to build on small bricks, because when we understand, we need to remember these things. And consciousness is not a product of matter, but a symptom of soul. All living beings, or jivas, including animals and trees, have a soul and thus consciousness. Soul is distinct from physical body. The body dies, not the soul. It transmigrates. Similarly, consciousness is also eternal and it also migrates. So even when we leave our body, we take another body, our consciousness, whatever leftover is there from the previous one, it goes along with us. Uh, like you must have seen, a dog or a cat. So what is it? Right from day one, you can see the cat behaves in a cat manner. It doesn't behave like a dog. The dog behaves in a dog manner. So day one baby, day one pup, day one kitten. So from where is it getting that kind of training that it's behaving in a certain manner? So it's the residue, it's the consciousness which is being taken forward in a new body. Certain desires were there, certain level of consciousness was there, that is being taken further. So it's behaving in a certain manner without training. I hope I'm clear. Wherever there is any doubt, kindly stop me. I'll try to explain, because as we delve deeper into the subject, these things will be like very much foundational and very much important. Devesh Prabhu, you can move on to the next slide. And consciousness generally is related to thinking, feeling, and decision making. And there's another fourth factor of awareness. So, thinking, feeling, deciding, that's not much to discuss on that. But when it comes to awareness, for example, we say this person is unconscious, means that person is not aware of certain things. When it is physically unconscious, then that time that particular person's body or is not conscious or aware of the instructions given by the brain. And when we are spiritually unconscious, means we are not connected or taking instructions from the supreme consciousness, which is Krishna. We are spiritually paralyzed. And further taking that awareness, other jivas are conscious, like they have all these functions going on. They are conscious, but human, the difference between human and other jivas is that human is conscious that he is conscious. What sambandha has to be made with the Lord. As I said, awareness. So, awareness of what? Conscious of what? That next slide explains that, which I also discussed just now. Awareness of our sambandha with the Supreme Consciousness, with Krishna. Then abhidaya. What is the process? Like as I discussed in the previous, not previous slide, a slide much before that, that we all have disconnected ourselves from him because of different contaminations. So now we have to revive it. Our sambandha is there with him. Our consciousness has to be connected to the supreme consciousness. And what is the process for that? What is the goal of our life? What is the prayojan? What is the process? And what is our sambandha? So when this is realized, then we come to perfected awareness or perfected consciousness. And I found this purport given by Srila Prabhupada very much relevant here. So I just quoted it. The individual soul is part and parcel of the Supreme. It gives the sambandha. And then his position is to render transcendental service to the Lord, which is the abhidaya. And this transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Samparsha. So that's the prayojan. And there's a beautiful picture also how everybody is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. Next slide, Prabhu. And here, slowly, I'm coming to the little technical aspect of consciousness. And I'll start with something very basic. And please, I'm repeating it again and again. Wherever you all have any kind of doubt, please stop me and I'll try to explain. Like you all must have seen that there are people, you tell them something and they get carried away. Sometimes some people get carried away by negative things, some people get carried away by something positive, while some people are very stubborn. They remain, they're very strong. They remain very much strongly, firmly grounded in whatever they think. Same way, even the objects that we see around us, they are we are also composed or constituted our when it comes to our structuring, our designing, we are made up of the different elements that you all must have studied. Other objects that we see around us, other jivas that we see around us, are also made using those very ingredients, but proportions are different, levels of consciousness is different. So they also have their consciousness and their susceptibility, their ability to absorb certain things. So here I gave certain examples like salt. Salt has the quality to absorb negative things. Chili also has this ability to absorb negative things. Clothes, clothes you can say it's that is also has having the potential to absorb. It can be negative, it can be positive.
ठीक है ना अभी लिख लो फिर उनको बाद आ जाना चलो चलो
I think there's some sound in the background.
पहले पहले पढ़वा दो, फिर चली जाएंगे, अनुपमा पास चली जाएंगे।
I request the concerned person to mute it. Like for example, a few days ago, we had gone to one Narshingdev temple. So there they were selling the clothes worn by the lordships. So why do we take that? We can easily buy from outside, but we take the clothes offered to the Lord because they have absorbed the positivity of the supreme consciousness. While we should try avoiding things that have been used by people carrying negative energy, because that negative energy will also get absorbed the way it absorbs the positive energy. Same thing applies to different body parts. Like our body also absorbs our consciousness, our energy. It sounds little dark, but then like tantrics, when they have to do certain things, certain practices, then they ask the person for the different body part, like they'll ask for hair or the nail of the person on whom they want to cast some kind of spell, because the consciousness gets carried away and it makes their job a lot easier. And generally the time chosen for that is night, because moon is also called manamoy, it's the presiding deity for mind, for man. So one can carry out so many activities there. uh, so in our human body, in our human form of life, we have many rules and regulations, because our ancestors were aware of all these things. So we have so many rules and regulations, like when we do the cooking, we wear certain clothes, not just like we wear whatever we wear outside and straight away in that contaminated state we go enter the kitchen and start with our cooking. Even for deity worship, we have certain rules and regulations. So these rules and regulations are meant to purify our consciousness. We'll try to understand even deeper as we move on further. If anybody has any kind of doubt or question, kindly raise your hand and ask me. So I can't see any response, so I believe that it's clear. And now we are coming further from those objects and jivas to individuals. Now how that consciousness is getting manifested. So first it's coming at an individual level. As an individual, how how do we absorb consciousness? We have our own consciousness. At the same time, as I said, that we also absorb negative consciousness or positive consciousness. And then we go a little further of collective consciousness. That also we'll be studying at two levels, at the level of geography and then at the level of mob or crowd. Next slide, Prabhu. So we begin with the collective consciousness. So coming to the geographical one, it can be manifest in two ways. It can be positive, it can be negative. Now I'll try to give a few examples. For example, when we go to Dham, you can see so much of positivity around. Like when we go to Vrindavan or Jagannath Puri or Mayapur Dham, just by seeing the vibration around, the consciousness that prevails in that area, we feel so nice. We just relish our chanting. Everything is so conducive for practicing bhakti. So it's there was a reason why all the yogis also choose to go to Himalaya, because there the geography is such, the place is such that is very conducive for them to practice yoga there or their sadhana. Same way, negativity also has its impact. There are places which are very negative. They have lot of negative collective consciousness. For instance, when somebody goes to a burial place, or say slaughterhouse, or to a movie theater also. There, if we try to, okay, I'll try to chant my rounds in movie theater, it's very difficult because the consciousness which prevails there is not really supportive of chanting or anything spiritual. There, that place is meant for total sense gratification. So it will not allow or it will not support any kind of spiritual activity as we can easily do in a dham. And then we move on to the next level, which is not the next slide, Prabhu. Yes, the crowd or the mob psychology. Recently, you all must be familiar. There was one very unfortunate incident of mob lynching of sadhus in Palghar. So all the people got together and they just killed him. And that place also does not have a very good historical record. So when people of negative mentality, negative consciousness, they get together, it gets very difficult for one positive person, to dominate them because they are there in full force. The negativity's power is doubled. Uh, many times in Mahabharat or in Ramayana, even in Bhagavatam, there are several instances where we read that certain individuals, like demons' power, gets increased at night time. So timing is also there, people are also there. It all increases, it accentuates the negativity or the positivity. Just opposite to that, if we are sitting in a group of devotees, it gets a lot easier for us to practice our sadhana. So it can be negative, it can be positive. It depends on us where we are trying to take our consciousness, where we are trying to associate our consciousness, with whom we are trying to connect. So if we are very careful about these things, our life will be much easier in bhakti. We'll be taking conscious steps to protect our bhakti lata bija. Yes, Prabhu. Uh, yes. So just now we covered the collective consciousness. Now we are coming to individual consciousness. Soul, as I said, its symptom is consciousness, and consciousness can be equated with energy or, sorry, with the Shakti, since we are in Devidham. And then I'm trying to go further at individual level also, as we did with collective consciousness. Sambandha with objects. For example, this also can be negative or positive. For example, suppose I have a car is an object, and I'm very much deeply connected with my car. Now that car is somewhere else, it's outside my house, I'm here. But if somebody goes and scratches on that car, I feel that scratch, on me. I feel the pain. Why? Because my consciousness I have placed there, it's getting extended to that object, and that object is not something very positive, it's just an attachment. So that always leads or result in our energy getting depleted or getting reduced. So that is the negative impact when we are connecting ourselves with objects in an attached manner, material attachment. But same way, if we connect ourselves positively, then it will have positive impact on us. For example, I can have attachment with my chanting beads. So that will help me. That will benefit me. That will increase my energy. That will increase or improve my consciousness. It will elevate my consciousness, increase my energy. So that's one level. Then we come, like here we are talking about increasing or improving our consciousness. So that was one when I gave the example of objects where we are going outside our body, and there can be another way of conserving it by taking it inside, as the yogis do. They don't have any connection with the outside world. They just go themselves, keep themselves in seclusion, remain like a recluse, and there they try to build upon their consciousness. So that is also another way of taking an inward journey and evolving our consciousness higher by connecting to higher higher deities. Not the deities, whatever their level of consciousness is, according to that they try to connect. But the journey is inward journey. And then third is sambandha with jivas in animal body. This also can have negative or positive aspects, and I'll try to give examples of that. For example, in Bhagavatam, we find a reference wherein Bharat Maharaj develops attachment for the deer, and his attachment is at the level of senses, and then he gets the body of a deer in his next birth. So that way, it can have not so positive impact. Or we have another example of Banasur, Narkasura and Banasur. Narkasur, who is the son of Bhumi Devi and Varahadev, of the Lord himself. He is mentioned to be a nice person, but then he comes in association with Banasur, and because of him, his consciousness is transformed. There's a devolution, there's a fall, there's a depletion in his Shakti or consciousness. So that's one negative example. While positive wise, if we see, we have several examples like of Dhruv Maharaj, Mrigari, like that. There are so many examples. And then we come to the examples when we have that was of animal body, and here we have human body. I just mingle the two by giving the example of Narad Muni, Dhruv Maharaj, and all. But in both the cases, the thing is, in either situation, it can have negative impact, it can have positive impact. So, but whatever it be, they all have their limitations. One can build the power, one can build the energy, one can build the Shakti by evolving our consciousness, but then it has its limitations. It's not endless. For example, uh, like Gandhari. Gandhari Devi is a very nice devotee of Lord Shiva. Her consciousness is very exalted, and by her pious activities, she has accumulated a lot of strength in her. And as the Mahabharat war is going on, and she's seeing that her sons are just dying, one by one, and finally she is left with just Duryodhan. Then, out of maternal love, she calls him and she says, "Now you take bath and come to me. And wherever I'll cast my sight, that body will be like metal, and nobody can defeat you." So he comes. She casts her sight, and somehow the Duryodhan covers his lower part, and that part is not strong. So that becomes his weakness. Then Duryodhan, when he realizes that, and immediately he says, "Okay, I did a mistake. Now again, I'll uncover myself, and you cast your sight on me." Then what is Gandhari's answer? She says, "Now I have already used up my energy. Whatever Shakti I had, whatever power I had accumulated through my pious activities, by elevating my consciousness, by connecting myself and serving Lord Shiva, now that is gone. Now I cannot do it. I'm not a magician. I cannot do it." So it proves that whatever or however much one may have evolved, there is a limitation. It comes to an end. It's finite. So now the question is, can we make that finite into unlimited or infinite? Can we do that? So here Prabhuji, next slide. So the answer is yes. Fortunately, we can do it. When we try to connect our consciousness to the supreme consciousness, who is nityas, nityanam, and cetanas, cetanam, then we can bring ourselves to the plane of being unlimited in our energy because He is unlimited. That is the only way. So when it comes to in Bhagavad Gita, we will see several paths given, but the perfection of Karma Yoga lies in connecting ourselves to Him in every possible way by keeping our consciousness placed rightly at His lotus feet. That is the perfection of Karma Yoga. That is the perfection of Dhyana Yoga is also on Him, the connection with Him. Jnana Yoga also perfection is when we connect it to Him. There's no other way. Perfection of all the paths lead towards Him, the Supreme Consciousness, who is the Lord Krishna Himself. Uh, Prabhu, we can move on to the next one. So this way, I feel that if we are conscious of our consciousness and try to work around it, things will become a lot easier for us and we can actually start working and enjoying in Krishna consciousness. I welcome doubts and questions. I think Devesh Prabhu, you can exit the slide share.
Those who have questions can either raise. Okay, yeah, there's a question on the chat.
Okay. How to maintain that consciousness while working in an atmosphere of multiple different personalities? Yeah, I think that's a real big challenge. Like as I shared in my slide share also, everything absorbs consciousness. Everything, be it inanimate, be it animate. So if we are careful in our dealings, it will make it very easy for us. If we keep ourselves surrounded by positive things, for example, why do we sip Ganga Jal? Because that is replete with all positive consciousness. We we serve Mother Surbhi here at our place, and I can see world of difference in our consciousness. Earlier it was different, but now she is in mode of goodness. Cows are different from other animals. They are in mode of goodness. And I can see lot of transformation taking place within us. So I suggest that okay, our situation might be exposing us to different personalities with different levels of consciousness, but then we have control of choosing with whom we associate we associate deeply. We should try to surround ourselves by objects and by personalities who are oozing positive consciousness, because that's the only way of protecting ourselves. There's no other way. Like I myself, I have worked for different organizations at, at good positions, and I can say that uh, those kind of situations, all of you must be working and you all must be exposed also to that kind of situation. And that time I had taken a decision, since I am exposing myself to the dangers of material world, I got to wear a thicker shield to protect myself. So my decision was, as long as I work, I will chant a minimum of 32 rounds. And somehow Radharani's blessing, I was able to do it. So I used to finish my 16 rounds before 6 in the morning. Then, as I commute on the way to my office, I used to chant 8 rounds, and then while returning, again 8 rounds. So it used to become minimum of 32 rounds, and it actually helped me. And I think this devotion, this is something, it makes us such fantastic time managers. We just look out for time, we just squeeze out time to read so many things. Like I used to finish my work quickly, and then I'll just open Veda base and continue reading and reading and reading. So I think we all can do this. We just have to see our situation, because we cannot have one design fit for all, because everybody's situation is different. The organization for which they work is different, with whom they associate is different. But then once we make up our mind, no, we have to protect ourselves, then Krishna will definitely answer and give us more creativity how we can surround ourselves with positivity. See, even when we read about bhakti, the second stage is after Shraddha is that we have to have sadhu sangha. Why do we have to have sadhu sangha? Because there we are protecting our consciousness and building it further by associating with all positive people. So we have to surround ourselves, be it through sadhu sang. Sadhu sang has to be there. Then we read Bhagavatam and other sacred literature. That's also associating. They are all conscious. We worship Bhagavatam when like now our Bhagavad Saptah will be starting in a few weeks. So that time we take Bhagavatam on our head and go out on the streets. That is live. So when we start associating ourselves, we are kind of protecting our consciousness, our Bhakti Lata Bija, and at the same time making it stronger. From that bija, it becomes slowly a creeper, and then it has to become like a vriksha. So the whole effort goes into it. And I hope I'm able to answer it sufficiently clearly. I take to the next question. How to identify negative consciousness in the beginning itself, so that we can move out of that? In my experience, I have seen, what we call sixth sense is basically the instruction coming from the Lord. We call it sixth sense, but actually it's Paramatma who is guiding us. All my five senses are defective, and mine are even worse. The only sense that works with me is the sixth sense. And I have seen that it has helped me in so many ways and in so many situations. I'm sure you all must have experienced in your life at one point or the other. You meet a person and you feel, no, I don't want to meet him again. While you just see somebody and you just feel attracted to them. Like it happens very often with me, and I'll just share with you all. Uh, like even before my marriage, I was like, I have been into this practice of Krishna consciousness and chanting from more than 20 years. So there was a time when my friends used to take me out, like if they are buying something, some new piece of land or their house, they will take me, what do you call that, as a kind of censor, like, tell me, is this place really good or not? And though I was saying, but it actually worked. And now I can relate it. That time I didn't know the science behind that. I just knew that it's working, but I didn't know what is the science behind it. Now I can understand. I can understand what was it which was actually helping me. And it was basically Krishna as Paramatma seated in our heart. He guides us. If our efforts are sincere, He will actually guide us towards better things and better solutions, how to come onto that plane. He has guided me, and I'm sure He will guide others too, as He promises in Bhagavad Gita, Yatha Mam Prapadante. So it's all based on our sincerity. If we have the desire, whether we are in the initial stage or in a very evolved stage, he is always with us. He doesn't abandon us at any point of time. He doesn't abandon when we are as a hog. He doesn't abandon us when we are a murderer, and he doesn't abandon when we are a practicing devotee. So I have first hand several experiences, and he actually helps. I hope it it helps. And I don't mind answering several times. If I'm not able to clear, please go on repeating your question till I actually answer to your satisfaction. I can see another question. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. How to prioritize our KC activities, as all the activities give us positive consciousness? How do all the activities give us positive? Not all the activities give us positive consciousness. It has to be connected to the Lord. That is very important. Only then, if it is not connected to the Supreme Lord, then it cannot actually help us in going further. Of course, there can be positive consciousness. There's no doubt about that. Positive consciousness can be there, but it has to be connected to the positive objects, which will be helpful in that. And when it comes to Krishna consciousness, we are all sadhakas. It takes us, it's that journey can be long or short depending on individuals. But then, if our sincerity is there and we sincerely seek the blessing and mercy of Srimati Radharani, we just have to go on praying and remembering her at every step. I'm sure her mercy just flows down. Like, you know, I don't know, I'm just always reminded of her only. And she is definitely more merciful than the Lord. Krishna is like a very strict judge, but when the recommendation comes from his devotees, then he gives little discount, ठीक है चलता है. Like suppose we compare our journey to his dham, to like some people like our Guru Maharaj and other elevated exalted souls, they will go in a flight. There'll be some people who will be going in a train, some will be going by cycle, some will be going in unreserved compartment, some in AC bogie. Let it be a unreserved bogie, but as long as it takes to Goloka, it's fine. So for me, like I depend on their mercy. It, but it helps, As long as the result is good, everything is good. We just have to keep ourselves connected to the devotees of the Lord. And in every active, it's not so difficult. As I said in the beginning also, we just have to keep ourselves surrounded by everything which will remind us of the Lord. And there is nothing which doesn't remind or which cannot remind us of the Lord. Even when there is dukkha, there is difficulty, we are reminded of Lord. So we just have to keep our consciousness open to this positivity. That is all, Even if we have a water bottle, it will remind us. Rasamahabab Sukante. So you look at the sun, you see, oh, that's his eye. I remember once we were going out, and my daughter, she was very small, so I was carrying her in my lap, and suddenly she said, see, there's Jagannath Ji in the sky. There's Jagannath Ji in the sky." And I was thinking, "Where is Jagannath Ji in the sky?" Then she said, "See, the sky is so dark. That's like him." And his smile, the moon was crescent moon. She was very small that time, maybe 1.5 or 2 years old. She said the smile is perfectly that of Jagannath Ji. So there's Jagannath Ji. So it depends how we are keeping ourselves. How pure is that? Of course, we are in contaminated state, but as we start making an endeavor, Krishna actually helps. He actually helps. There's not much time. Otherwise, I would have shared. Like. Mm, uh, I remember there was a time when I was actually troubled by a few tantrics. And Krishna actually, helped me under so many circumstances. And there was one tantric who actually challenged me. He said, "You are chanting and doing this. You just see, you'll not be able to continue, and I'll make sure that it will not happen." But I can see Krishna is the biggest tantric. He's the biggest mystic. He is the Yogeshwar, who can stop him? He is unstoppable. So even for a person who is still, like for myself, I'm a sadhaka. I have not reached the level of complete purity. But the moment we decide, that desire itself comes in our heart to chant his name and to reach him or to try to love him, Krishna starts reciprocating with us. So his mercy can be felt at each and every step. So I'm sure it has helped me and it will help everybody. Hmm. Uh, could you please advise how to do quality chanting? In short, yes, chanting is the secret to everything. There lies the key. I have always felt our difficulties help in chanting better. No wonder Kunti Devi asked for more difficulties. But I don't mean to say that we should also start asking for difficulties, because we are not on the plane of Kunti Devi. But that chanting, when we do in a humble state and we keep praying to Krishna, please help me chant your name better. Radharani, please help me. I always seek her lotus feet. And I always pray to her that Radharani, please help me love the person whom you love so much. I just want to love him. That's all. And I have seen, like, earlier we used to go picnicking, you know, to different places before I was connected to this movement. Or even when you travel in the train, you can see even on the trees, people, when they are in so-called love, they will write their beloved's name everywhere, be it a tree, be it a washroom, or anywhere, everywhere they'll be writing. So they are always in that consciousness. They are always thinking of the person whom they love. Similarly, when we are trying to love Krishna, it becomes very easy to think of him, to write his name everywhere, to write his name on our heart first, and then try to take his name. Like, I have experienced, like, we counsel a good number of devotees and even outsiders. So many of them share their love stories also. And then I feel, all the time, even when there is a breakup, after the breakup also, they'll be taking that person's name so many times without even realizing that fact. So it's very natural. So when we begin to love Krishna, automatically we start taking his name. It just happens, and slowly that purity also gets better and better. And as we are meditating upon him, he actually helps us. And for me, the key to good chanting is praying to Srimati Radharani and to his devotees. That's the only way. There's no other way. That's why we say humility, Trinadapi Sunichena. So when we are in that humble state, it helps us in purifying our chanting. And the result can be easily measured. It can be easily, calculated. We have, for fever, we have thermometer. For Krishna consciousness also, we have few meters or a few mechanisms to measure it. Depends how humble we are, because as we grow in our bhakti, it shows in our demeanor, in our humility. Then we realize how fallen we are. Otherwise, just at the end of the mail we write, your fallen servant. But actually we feel we are very great. So when that realization comes from within, that I'm so minute, I'm so small, I'm actually so degenerate that I don't deserve Krishna's mercy, then humility comes. And how great Krishna is, how great he is, and how small I am. then it leads to humility. And in that humble state, when we start praying to Him, then for every support, like when we are, drowning in an ocean, for straw also we'll be looking for support. So same way, when we realize how fallen we are, that time we will be looking for all the devotees around as that support. We'll try to take their support in improving our sadhana and improving our chanting. I think it actually helps. Chanting chanting becomes very difficult when the mind is cluttered with all thing from day's work. How to chant then? The only solution for that is also chanting. It's the process, it's the end. Both lies in chanting. Yeah, our mind is very chanchal, but then to control that mind is also mantra, and that is Maha Mantra. Our what we chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I know it is difficult, it is very challenging, but then slowly I feel as we go on continuing with determination our sadhana, that no matter what, I may be troubled, I may be in a very difficult state, the situation may not be so conducive, but if I'm determined to continue with that, slowly it definitely helps us. We can be like a kind of island in the ocean. It can, and it happens, it has happened several times with me. So it's not that I'm just saying it, it's based on personal first hand experience. And I'm sure so many of you also must have experienced it. It all depends on our determination and on our endeavor. Yeah, this month is Damodar Mas. Damodar Lila also teaches us that we have to continue with determination, that yes, I will do it. And with sincerity, if we continue our effort, then His grace follows. But of course, we cannot blackmail Krishna and say, see, now I have chanted my 16 rounds. Now I have got license to your Goloka Dham. You have to share your grace. The word use itself is grace. It depends just on Him. We have got one tiny, minute free will, and that has created havoc. That we have so many universes now, countless universes, because we misused that small free will given by Krishna. And He is the supreme will, He is the supreme consciousness. So He is much, much bigger without any comparison. So He has the free will to choose whether He wants to share His grace or not. But our job is to keep running behind Him like Mother Yashoda. I'll not leave you. He cannot be captured by yogis. So many people are running after Him. But He is very elusive. But it depends on Him if He chooses to be bound by us or not. Of course, the only rope to bind Him is love, and which gets expressed through chanting. We have to keep trying. That's all. Only endeavor and determination is in our hand. Rest is his his thing, his department, and we cannot take charge of his department. I hope it answers the question and the doubt. Your mind does get cluttered. It definitely reminds me of myself also. But then slowly I think we do come to the plane of equipoise. It's not so difficult. Um, just few days ago I was just sharing, somebody was asking me, why is simple life or natural life so important to understand or appreciate bhakti? So I said, see, bhakti, when the moment we talk about bhakti, what do we say? Bhakti lata bija. It's a bij, it's a seed. Now a person who has never been in a village setup, he has never seen how a plant grows. That first we plant the seed, we make the soil fertile, we put cow dung and all that, make it nice and good. and then we put the seed in that, then we start watering it, and slowly it germinates, it grows, and then how we tend to it, how we take care of that, and slowly it grows. Now a person who has never done that, how will he understand the comparison of bhaktilata beej also? He has never seen it. So for that simple thing also, we have to expose ourselves to the
Give
simple
me
things
a
of
caller,
natural
right?
life. Uh, I can hear few sounds in the background. So we have to make our life very simple and very much connected to earth. Earth is Prithvi Devi herself. If we live in high rising apartments, we are no longer connected to the earth. We are no longer connected to the consort of the Lord, and she also gives us bhakti. If we are connected to Mother Cow, who is like a moving temple, we are connected to bhakti. If we are planting Tulsi Devi, who is Bhakti Devi, then we are connecting ourselves. We are connecting ourselves to the Supreme Consciousness. And that's how we are making our limited thing into unlimited. We are trying to, then there is every possibility that we are able to relish everything and taste the nectar of happiness in the real sense. I'll share one experience with everybody if time permits. A few years ago, not few years ago, maybe a decade ago, in December 2008, uh, like everything was going hunky dory. I was at a good position. I was earning pretty good. Everything was going on fine. Then suddenly, few developments took place, and I thought, now I think I should quit. I discussed it with my husband, and just as I was thinking, it so happened that before that the company decided that I should quit. So Krishna helped me. He took a step further. So I was so surprised, Acha, he is going much faster than my mind also. Of course, he is much faster than anybody's mind. But then probably Krishna wanted me to have, 3 months salary extra. So it actually helped me. So I got a good sum, and immediately I thought, now I have extra money, because had I resigned on my own account, I would not have got the salary for 3 months, which they usually give. But I got, and immediately I funded pilgrimage to Sridham Mayapur for all my family members. So I thought, now this has to be utilized. It has come as a bumper offer. So I used it. Everything was done, and then I was thinking, now because whatever I never had the habit of saving. Maybe it's the flaw. It's a flaw, but then that's how my guna is. We don't have the habit of conserving. Maybe it's a typical of a brahmana, but can't help it. That's how it is. So we didn't conserve, and after that I was thinking, how to really go about it. I have decided I will quit, and I have quit, and I'm not even applying anywhere. So suddenly I was thinking, and after that, soon after that flight and all that, after that we had to attend one GBC SPT meeting, uh, of which I was a member. So again, we were going to Mayapur for attending the meeting. And that time, we didn't have sufficient Lakshmi to take the flight. And we took a train. And my daughter was asking me, how come this time we are not going by flight? So I said, no, Krishna wants you to enjoy more. Earlier, when we were going by flight, we were just taking transport from Dumdum airport and going straight to Mayapur. So now you'll be seeing the confluence of river Ganga and Jalangir, which like when we take the boat only, then we can get the opportunity to see. So that economically it works out better. So we had chosen that option, but Krishna opened doors of mercy to us. So my daughter was enjoying like anything. And very soon after that, I was getting calls from my other colleagues who had also been shown pink slip. And they were trying their best to look out for a new job. And here I was nicely enjoying. And they said, Madam, what are you doing? Like, have you got? I said, no, I didn't apply. I am in Mayapur now. They said, how can you do like this? You are enjoying, you are picnicking. So I just shared one experience. I said, see, because I had actually experienced it when I was returning in the cab. That time I was thinking, I have the responsibility of my daughter, like who has been brought up so well and comfortably. Now suddenly, what will I be able to do my duty properly to her? I was thinking about all these things, and suddenly it dawned on me, I am her mother just in this birth, and I'm so concerned about her welfare. And here I have the Supreme Father who has been my father all the lifetimes to come and in the past. Why will he not be concerned about our welfare? And the moment this realization came to me, I was just, totally carefree. Now she is his responsibility. All this while she was in my custody, now he has taken charge of her welfare. So why should I come in between? And this makes our mind totally uncluttered when we realize that we are under his shelter and he is taking care. All those thoughts, all those worries are gone. And I shared it in the form of an article on Dandavats. And it so happened that on that page, my article was getting the maximum clicks. And there was another disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Patita Pavan Prabhu. So he had also written an article, and immediately he sent me one personal mail saying, Mataji, like first time I'm seeing your article, and I think there's a transcendental competition between us. You are getting more number of clicks. So we just had some interesting interactions, and after that, Prabhuji offered. He's a fantastic astrologer. So he said, Mataji, would you share your details with me, birth details? So I said, I'll share it happily, no problem. You are Prabhupada's disciple and you are telling me what, well, like, there's no room for me to ponder. So I just shared. And after that, he reverted and he said, Mataji, your bad time starts uh, 2008. I had resigned. So mid of 2008, materially, your most horrible time, materially, starts then. So you will be undergoing a very, very difficult phase in your life wherein generally people take to suicidal path. And this period will continue for pretty long. So just hold on to your spiritual things. So I said, thank you, Prabhu. And now when I look back, when that period is gone, we both of us, my husband and myself, we sit and we think, was that really a difficult period? It wasn't. Like to others, it may appear very difficult. There were days when we were actually thinking whether we will get our next meal or not. But then we were not thinking exactly. We knew, acha, theek hai, next time ka ensure hai. But Krishna would arrange something or the other. And there was so much of dependency on him for each and everything. It was the golden period. I really relish each and every moment of that particular period. It brought us so much closer to him that we consider it as a gift. It's actually a gift. So it's beautiful. We can always feel his presence. He's always there to help us. The problem is that we are not taking the first step. But if we take that first step and continue with determination that come what may, I'm not leaving you, Krishna. I'm sure he's there for us, for each one of us. So I think it will help us to taste that nectar and bliss which lies, somewhere in future for all of us. If there's any question, I would try to answer. Otherwise, I'll take leave and hoping that this class has helped everybody.
Yes, thank you very much, Mataji. It was a very wonderful class. So, before we can go ahead, or before I can ask the audience if they have questions, I just want to make sure whether you have
Yes.
time. In case you're getting late, you can let us know so that we can end it here. Otherwise, I can just ask.
Today
So,
I have cancelled one of my programs, so I'm just sitting here. My husband is taking care of that. So I can definitely afford another 10 to 15 minutes. It's fine with me.
so, I would request the viewers, if you have any questions on this topic, please you can post it, or you can unmute yourself and ask also. It'll be very personal. And okay, Anyway, in the meantime, I would like to ask one question on this
Yes,
topic of happy
yes,
working.
Prabhu.
So, of course, you approach this topic in one manner, like associating with positive, things that enhance our consciousness positively, and avoiding those which degrade our consciousness, and those so consciousness aspect of it, so that we can see our work in a different light,
Hmm.
right? So
Yes, Prabhu.
I wanted to ask about the other aspect of happy working. That is, to the degree we are based on the words of karmanyavadikarasti. So to the degree we are like detached from the result, understanding that Krishna provides the ultimate result, then actually that causes no anxiety.
Yes.
But I wanted to know how to practice it, because recently when attempted an exam, I tried to practice it like Nishkam Karma Yoga, and and above that Bhakti.
Hmm.
But I could practice, and just the day for exam I could not. Till then I was doing proper sadhana, everything. Then the day before I could generally chant 16 rounds, and I could not do hearing, reading, and all. So it is actually very difficult, because it was medical exam and I wanted to revise, but it was
Hmm.
very difficult to be detached from the result. Or what was going in my mind was, if I don't revise this, and if they ask this, then what to do, like that. So often we it is very difficult for us to get detached from the result, even though we have tried our best. So I wanted to request you to throw some light on this aspect also.
I'll try, Prabhu. Like, I would like to put it like this: what is it which is stopping us from detaching ourselves from that attachment to result? I feel perhaps when we are not very clear what is my duty and from where the boundary of dependence starts, we try to stretch our line of duty, which is something very liquid. It is very fluid. For instance, a person may say that, okay, now I have my duty that I have to chant my 16 rounds, I have to do the arti, I have to do whatever, and then I have to study for these many hours. Then a person may say, no, as a student, now I have to take the examination. Examination will not happen again. So let me dedicate more number of hours towards revision, or whatever way we want to approach the examination by systematically putting it. So that can be one approach. And he said, chanting I can anyways do tomorrow also. Na? So tomorrow, today I'll do 8 rounds, then tomorrow I'll do another 8 rounds. So now it depends on our perception where we are drawing our line of duty and our spiritual commitment. And this type of line of duty is defined by our inherent gunas, as the degree of surrender also is defined by our gunas. A Brahmana's guna of surrender is more. That is why they are not supposed to cultivate. I'm sure, like as any Bharatvarsh, person, we all know in our villages till date, this is a system which is still being followed very strictly. That a Brahmana is not supposed to touch that. In our language, we call it thunt of that plow, that handle, which is there of the plow. They are not supposed to touch. It's considered a sin. Why? Because a Brahmana is supposed to be more surrendered to the Lord. So whatever comes his way, he'll accept it. Whether in the form of a bhiksha, there are different ways prescribed for procuring it. It can be in the form of a bhiksha, it can be in the form of a madhukari, or it can be the way Shukracharya was following, like whatever was left in the fields, they just go in. So surrender is more in a Brahmana. In a Kshatriya, it is little lesser. Vaishya, it is even lesser. So there's no sin in that. According to our guna, we are drawing the lines of our duty. So where we feel, okay, now here my duty ends. I may feel like, ठीक है, anyway, Bhagwan ने तो result already is predetermined. So I just have to 8 hours I was doing, every day I was doing it. So now also I'll do my 8 hours and I'll do my 16 rounds of chanting or whatever. So it depends on our guna. So there's nothing wrong. That's why we talk about Varnashram. So Varnas will be there, but in all the Varnas, we have to keep Krishna at the center. If Krishna is at the center, that whatever I'm doing for his pleasure, then everything is converted to devotional service. But anxiety should not be there. If we are having anxiety, that means the degree of surrender is little less, or the faith is not 100%. When faith is 100%, there will be no anxiety. So basically, these things are good because they are symptoms, they give a signal that, okay, this is the area in which we have to work. Like here, I have seen, when we go out, the cat, when it crosses the road, many people will start abusing the cat. And a cat is giving you an indication. It's giving an indication that stop for a while. So we should be thankful to the cat instead of abusing it. So here Krishna is giving us a symptom that this is the area in which we have to work. If anxiety is there, means we have to work little harder on our surrender. Those lines can be fluid because that is defined by our gunas. That is fine. That's absolutely fine. But then that surrender has to be there. If we are surrendered, we'll have complete faith in His plan and we'll be able to do what we are supposed to do. I hope it helps, Prabhu.
Just to clarify,
Yes, Prabhu.
so one may be in any varna or any ashram, and as you said, the degree of surrender or the ease of surrender is dependent on one's guna.
Yes.
Right? So, but irrespective of any varnashram, one has to cultivate at least a basic amount of or basic level of surrender as to follow the 16 round, chanting of 16 rounds and the four eggs
Mm.
and all those
Yes.
things. That's right.
Yes, Prabhu.
So
Yes.
that baseline surrender is a must for everyone in the society, and beyond that, it depends on guna, and probably if someone is more serious, they'll take it seriously. So it's
Yes.
dependent. Right? Okay,
Actually,
got it.
all the varnas are serious. Not that the lower varnas are not serious. They are also serious. They are also serious. See, when they serve other varnas, they are trying to surround themselves with more of positive consciousness. And they are engaged in devotional service indirectly, but they are engaged. So they are also evolving. And it becomes a lot simpler because they are placed in their natural position and they are practicing there. So
Okay.
yes, Prabhu.
Right. Okay. So being placed in their natural position, their anxiety is not there.
Yes,
Otherwise,
yes,
if they're trying to imitate another varna or ashrama, they'll be, even if they are able to do it externally, their mind will be in a constant hustle.
yes. Paro dharma bhayava.
Okay.
We should not try to imitate. I feel our country,
Hmm.
Bharatvarsha, we are so fortunate that we are born in a land where Gangaji flows, where so many saints have wandered, where Krishna has descended in so many avatars. You just decide, I'll just subsist only on prasadam. You'll be able to fulfill your vow. Go anywhere, you will see some temple and you'll get prasadam. But we can't do these kind of things outside India. It's impossible. It's just impossible. So here we are born in this land where right from beginning, we are being trained in this. So we should not try to imitate others. Fortunately, we have Varnashram intact in our Bharatvarsha. For others, it may be very difficult. That is why Prabhupada gave them one Gotra. Okay, you do not know your Gotra, here I am giving you. But here in Bharatvarsh, we know whatever Gotra is, whatever Varna is. It's not so difficult. We all know the art of horoscope making. We all do it for our kids, we have for our own selves. So we know to which Varna we belong. So for us, devotional life is much easier. Much easier. I think yesterday I was taking a session on Gomata. Like that, I was giving a series of lectures. So first session was on dharma. What is dharma? And session was on the pillars of dharma, and third session was on dharma and karma, and the fourth session was on mother cow. So when we were discussing that, and naturally, people will ask, why do we discriminate between other animals and cow? So I just answered, like Discrimination is a symptom of intelligence. A person who is a fool will not discriminate. But then, when we are intelligent, we discriminate. For example, we have so many women around. They all look the same, but our mother is different and we treat her differently. We discriminate. We treat our wife differently. We cannot say, no, all the women are alike, so I'll treat other women also as my wife. It's not possible. We have to discriminate. So we have so many trees around, but Tulsi Devi is different. She is unique. We have so many rivers. Gangaji is unique. We have so many devatas. Krishna is unique. We have so many countries. Bharatvarsha is unique. So when we realize, that we are fortunate to be born in this land, we'll try to make the most of the opportunity that has been given to us and just lap it up. We are surrounded with so much of positivity around. We just have to, capitalize on that. And we can actually taste the bliss, in so many ways. It actually becomes happy working the moment we connect it to the Lord. And in Bharatvarsha, it's a lot easier to connect to Krishna. It's very easy. Like one of the fantastic things about our Bharatvarsha is across the country, the Supreme Lord is worshipped in different ways. Like you start from Jammu and Kashmir, top, there they worship him as Anantashesha. That's why you have a place called Anantanag. Go little, east side. There you will see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagannath ji. Then come little down. You can see like Orissa, Jagannath ji. Then go little further. Andhra, you will see Balaji. And then go further, little down. You can see Ranganath ji. Go to Kerala, Anant Padmanabh ji. Go to Maharashtra, Vitthal ji. Go little higher, Gujarat, you have Govind Dev ji. And in between, you have Sri Ram ji, and all those are covered. So, which place is there where we are not worshipping Krishna? Where can we find this beautiful thing outside? Here, it's only here. And when we talk about, like in my initial slides, I wanted to go into detail, but somehow the time was not permitting me. Like we have so many practices, which we have been seeing right from our childhood. Like yesterday, I think there was one devotee. She asked me, she has small vigrahas of Radha and Krishna. So she said, she's not initiated. She said, my friends are telling me I should not worship them because I'm not second initiated. So what should I do? And she does beautiful seva. So I said, now call me in person because there are many answers which are not applicable on everybody. So I just spoke to her and I said, see, you are born, she is from a Brahmin family. She is an Indian, born in a Brahmin family, very nice, cultured family. So I said, see, Prabhupada, we have to, when we try to follow Prabhupada, we have to understand his thought behind when he gave us instructions. He had gone and preached in the West, where in the West, what are the religions which are actually being practiced? That is Islam or Christianity. And both of them believe in formlessness. So, first, Prabhupada had to bring all of them on the plane that they start believing that Supreme Person has a form. So, first, they have to be brought to that realization. And then, after that, the training continues. So, first, Harinam Diksha, Acha, Supreme Personality of Godhead, first realization. Then, slowly, over a period of time, by continuous sadhana, then they come to second initiation and then they can start worshipping the Lord. But here in Bharatvarsha, at the time of marriage itself, people will be giving vigrahas to the bride to take it to her next, future house. So here we are doing deity worship right from beginning. Right from our childhood, we have been seeing our mothers do that. Our parents do that. So in that atmosphere, it's not something very alien to us. This is something very natural to us to do deity worship. We know even Vayu Devata has a form. So it's very easy for us to relate to it. So deity worship is something very spontaneous and natural. And especially that lady, as I said, she comes from a Brahmin family, all the more easier. So I said, please continue with that. Not that whoever has given you that instruction, not that they are wrong, but they have given you a general guideline. but we should be able to discriminate between general guideline and the decisions that we take according to sthana kala patra. So in this situation, you decide this. So decision making is another symptom of intelligence, uh, of many of the symptoms. So we should be able to discriminate and decide which will fit where and whom. I hope somehow it helps.
Okay. Over to Kishan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, I would like to thank you very much for spending your precious time. Beautiful lecture. A lot of people, we saw good numbers on the net, and we have a lot of people offline here as well as online also. So we are very grateful. Very in depth. I was just hearing it when we were in the kitchen, and we were saying that we are hearing the lecture, and very in depth knowledge. So nice. It's a very nice opportunity for us to learn more from you, Mataji. We look forward for your class in future also.
I think I must thank each and every participant, and of course to Kishan Prabhuji who gave me the opportunity, and Devesh Prabhu who was an instrument in this. So I thank each and every one of you. This
Thank
was
you.
a small seva in Kartik Mas from my side.
Thank you very much. We are very fortunate. I mean, you could
Hare
spend so much
Krishna.
time with this. Also, Mataji, next year we are having the 25th year of celebrations of BYS Manipal. So we look forward for one of the sessions from you also, Mataji. And we also would like to invite you whenever when all this COVID and all these things goes away. You can please come down to Udupi Kshetra, then also give us your association, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Devesh Prabhu, for also coordinating and helping to get Mataji online and asking and making her to spend time with us for to give the class. Thank you very much for organizing this.
Hare
Also,
Krishna.
I would like to thank our dear devotees like Abhay Prabhu, Vasu Prabhu, Devesh Prabhu, everybody for coordinating in the program today. We also are very fortunate. We have some special announcement today. We are very fortunate to have us in the presence His Grace Ramanand Prabhu. Raya Ramanand Prabhu, we are very fortunate to have his association. Our dear Bhakti Bhushan Prabhu, and also we have Prabhu. Your name is Vinod Dwarkadesh Prabhu from Delhi, no? Delhi. So we are very fortunate to have devotees here, and we have a couple of devotees from the Punyakoti Goshala. So they had a beautiful Goseva Sammelan, and it was very successful. And we have all the devotees here today. We are very fortunate. Thank you again for coming and giving us your association. Also, we would like to thank our, it's very special today. We have the birthdays of a couple of our devotees. One of our devotees' birthday is Satish Prabhu. It is his birthday. We wish him a very happy birthday. May Krishna bless him with all prosperity in life. We also have our dear Ritesh Prabhu. It's also his birthday today. We wish him all the best, all the prosperity and the blessings by Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra. And yes, we are very fortunate that a couple of devotees have taken initiation. Our devotees like our dear Arjun Prabhu. He's known as Ananta Rupa Krishna Prabhu. He's been initiated. We congratulate him. His Grace, our Prafulla Prabhu, who is known as Purna Govinda Das. So we congratulate him also. And also dear Rangesh Prabhu. And he's been initiated as, what is his name? So we congratulate all the devotees who have all been, who have taken initiation, and we wish them all the best. Today we have another auspicious day. It's our dear Aditya Reddy Prabhu has been blessed with a baby boy. So as for it, we are celebrating today's program. The whole program is sponsored by Prabhuji. So we wish the new baby all happiness, prosperity. May Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra bless him with all happiness and prosperity. So with this, we thank all the devotees who are helping in the organizing of the program. Next week, we are looking forward for our monthly Jagrati program. His Grace Madhav Prabhu will be addressing us. We'll be having a lot of activities. We have a very special program. We'll be having a very special what we call as personality coming us, rather personalities coming. So I would request all the devotees to look forward and attend the program next week. With this, we close the first session of the program. We'll be having Aarti now. I would request all the devotees to kindly be patient and wait for the Aarti. Hare Krishna. The Prabhupada ki jai.
जय वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्ण
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Sate